Hello, beautiful souls. You are what you have been looking for this whole time. We've been trying to find something that is outside of ourselves, and we didn't realize that everything is within us. I've always find it fascinating how, so many people worship gods and other beings, and like they find a guru or a priest or someone that that they worship, or even parents. Sometimes they want their parents to be proud of them. They want so much out of someone from the outside world that they'll give their money away to this person, or they'll give their life away, to be honest. But what is it that makes us want to worship something when everything is within us? The source frequency, source energy is everything, and we're a fractal of source, and we're taught that everything is outside of ourselves, that we're often taught that we should respect our parents, respect our teachers, respect religions, respect, which I think, yes, is definitely important to respect others, because we are them, they are us. But how much are we giving our power away? There's a difference of being respectful, but then giving that power away to someone else. And, some of these gods that, humanity's been worshipping, how do we know that they're not ETs that have come from, other dimensions or other spaces? How do we know that that's not just, like maybe a more evolved being that maybe showed some godlike abilities, but they're just like us. Basically, they're just a soul in that's using a soul suit, or an organic suit to be someone, to create, to have a different personality. So yeah, how do we really know? It's super interesting, isn't it? So I thought I might tune in to some of the I don't know, lately I've been tuning into the Pleiadians quite a bit as well. I think within my DNA at the moment, I have quite a high frequency of Pleiadian. So that's what we do. Sometimes we'll choose, before we incarnate, we'll choose how much of a certain being or species that we want to have within us. So you can kind of tune in sometimes, and you can kind of ask your intuition, ask your higher self, or ask your guides, and say, what percentage am I? And see if you can hear or feel or sense something, like 80% Pleiadian, or are you 20% Syrian, or are you 50% Andromedan? Like, there's all, so many different beings that we have added. We've got our DNA is like, they've contributed so much to our DNA. And it's just the soul suit, it's just a suit. That's not who you are. All of these beings across the universe, beyond the universe, they at the core level, they are source energy. They are the higher self. They're the oversoul. They don't really have that physical body. They're more an energetic frequency. We do have, it's very hard to explain. As a soul, you do have a body, but it's just not comprised of matter. It's more light particles. Even though you feel real, you are real, but you're everything. So it's kind of like you can slip into being the consciousness of a rock, and so you feel like a heavy, dense rock, and then you can slip into the consciousness of a human body and feel what it's like to be human, and then you slip into what we would call an extra dimensional, or an ET, or a galactic. You can slip into that body. So we kind of, we choose what body we want to slip into. So why if we are everything, why if we are all there is, why would we worship somebody. Like we've always had a hierarchy structure on earth that, those people are better than us. There's also, there's even people that didn't worship a god would worship a celebrity or a musician or a religion, a priest, or, like everybody seems to have been brought up, not everyone, but so many have been brought up to worship someone, even worship their parents. Like your parents are not, they're just another part of you, a soul fragment of you, another aspect of the whole. So, like I always remember hearing that we had, a lot of humans had a worship gene or a worship imprint, like imprinted within the DNA. It was some imprint that was making us worship something so that we wouldn't see our inner light. We wouldn't see who we truly were within us. So, if we were looking on the outside in the outside world to worship something, then we wouldn't be connecting with our inner self, our higher self, our soul self. We'd always be searching for something on the outside and worshipping everything on the outside rather than really looking internally and seeing how incredible we are and that we are the gurus, we are the source energy, we are the gods of our own reality, we are the creators. So super interesting. So I thought I might tune in with the Pleiadians just to see if anything came up with the worship gene. Do humans have a worship gene? Is that why they're always, they're either wanting their parents to be proud of them or they're worshipping a religion, a priest, a god, worshipping something, a deity, something outside of them, rather than looking inside at their incredibleness. Incredibleness. Is that a word? Okay, so let's tune in to the Pleiadians. So I'm going to take a deep breath. We're going to visualize a golden bubble of light, golden bubble of light, bringing in high frequency energy. We're going to cleanse with source energy, a waterfall of pure source energy, light and love cleansing, bringing us clarity, bringing us wisdom. So, I could ask source itself, but sometimes I like to go down to other levels of reality, which are closer to our energetic reality that we're in, our vibrational reality that we're in, because a lot of the galactics and light beings do understand a bit more what it's like on Earth. I'm not saying that Source doesn't know, but Source is just so neutral. Source is just so happy for you to be anything you want to be. If you want to worship, you can worship. If you don't want to worship something, you don't have to. Like Source is just totally unconditional love, would never expect you to worship it, would never expect you to forget your true self. But you can play that game if you want to. You are Source and Source is you. So let's tune into the Pleiadians. So Pleiadian High Council. Okay, so do we have a worship gene or a worship implant? Is that why we're always looking for something outside of ourselves and not from within us? Dear ones, you are starting to remember and awaken that you are all that is. And this is such a beautiful thing for us to see and witness. Yes and no, you have a worship gene. This has come from many generations of being in a limiting perspective. As humanity starts to evolve, you realize that you are all that is and you don't need something outside of yourself. But when your consciousness was in a lower state of being, you created these almost like a worship gene to it's like you wanted something to help you. You needed the guidance. You needed to look up to somebody as you would look up to your parents, or you would look up to a religion, you would look up to a god, you would look up to a deity. You needed some guidance because you weren't connected to your inner soul, your inner self, your inner transmitters and receivers. You weren't connected. You were, but you didn't realize you were connected to the Akashic records, to source frequency, to the guides all throughout the universe. You didn't realize and you didn't sense that. So you were always looking for somebody to tell you which way to go, to tell you what was right, to tell you what was wrong, to tell you what was your best option. You were always looking for something because you didn't realize, you weren't taught that it was all within you, that you hold the soul codes, the soul blueprint for every single thing in the universe and outside of the universe. You are all there is. So you have a holographic system within your soul blueprint that can create anything. It can create all aspects of reality. It can create all soul codes, all blueprints, all possibilities, opportunities that you want. So any timeline you can create, but you did not know this. So this is why you feel that there was a worship imprint. It is basically because you didn't know which way to go. You needed the guidance, you needed the support, and that is the only way that you could find it, was from something outside of you. But now you're awakening to remember that these gods, these ET visitors, these religions, these cultural aspects, it's not really you. It's all part of the game that source energy is playing, the game that the universe is playing, of let's break apart, but not really, because everything is still connected. Let's create an illusion of breaking apart and seeing what different aspects we can be. So some went into what you would call a lower consciousness. We don't call it lower because that is a very impressive thing to do, to be able to go. It's almost like you're shutting down a part of your soul, a part of yourself, the remembrance of who you are on the aspect of being everything right here, right now. So you have created this reality where you have forgotten. So yes, as we keep saying, you needed the guidance and the support. So you looked outside of you. Yes, ETs did come and help you, support you. You like to call them Galactics. The Galactics came to support you. And then because they were what you would call a more advanced race, basically you in the future, your future selves, so they had the skills, they had the telepathy, they could levitate, almost some of them like Superman. You've seen your yogis have levitated many times. So levitation is not, it's just the more constricted level of where some of the galactics are at. A lot of the galactics and light beings can, yes, fly. You'll just see a golden light around them. Sometimes you'll see angels that will look like they have a golden glow, but it's more, some people would call it the Merkaba, that it's like an energetic frequency that vibrates so high that you can fly, you can float, almost like what your yogis are doing. So yes, when you have these kind of beings that come into your earth reality, you may see them as gods because they can levitate, they can fly, they have telepathy, they can read your mind, they have technology that can build things like the pyramids, they can move huge blocks, they can cut huge rocks. They can do so much more than the primitive human could do. So yes, you saw them as gods, as deities, and this was an exciting thing for the soul, to see something in such a different light. You saw these energies, these galactics, these light beings, you saw them as something more than you, something more impressive, something like, wow, that is incredible, exciting. And then you wanted to praise them and worship them. Not all of you, but a lot of humans did. So they started worshipping more and more what was outside of them. So yes, you could say this imprinted in the next generations of worship something outside of you, something that's quote unquote better. But no, they are not better than you. They are you in a different form. They're a soul fragment of you. But your true self is source energy, is the higher self, is the oneness of the universe. You are it all. You are the gods. You are the deities. You are the humans. You are the galactics. You are the angels. You are the rocks. You are the grass. You are the ocean. You're the birds. You're all the other creatures that are throughout the universe, the other energies that are throughout the universe. You are gases. You are clouds. You are planets. You are the sun. You are everything, even what you would call fake, something that's not real. That is you as well. Everything is you. Even the inorganic is you. Even the shadow is you. So give yourselves the love, the compassion that you deserve, because you are brilliant. You are beautiful. You are everything. And you don't need to worship anything because you are it all. Doesn't it seem silly to worship yourself? But then again, we would say, give compassion to yourself and do see how amazing you are. Yes, worship yourself if that feels good, because you are incredible. You've just forgotten how incredible you are. Yeah, okay. So, interesting. All right, so let's, I think I'm going to leave it there. I could go on and on, but we'll do that another day. So thank you to the Pleiadians. We're going to ground ourselves with new earth frequency now. So bring ourselves back down to earth. We're going to close that galactic frequency, not close it, but just, reconfigure back to earth, new earth, high dimensional frequencies filled with love, abundance, and excitement. Okay, so yeah, super exciting. Right, so thank you guys for joining me. Awesome. Let me know in the comments if you have anything that you would like me to channel or to talk about. I appreciate you so much. Jump on, check out my Patreon membership. That helps support my business. So I appreciate you guys so much. And sending love, good vibes from New Zealand. And I will talk to you guys soon. Peace. Bye for now.